Hi everyone, it's really good to be with you again and to talk to you. I'm going to read the Gospel story for this Sunday, but before I do, I'm going to light a candle to remind us that Jesus is right here alongside us and right alongside you as we listen to his Gospel, his good news, his word. Jesus Christ is the light of the world, a light no darkness can quench. Listen to the Gospel of Christ according to St. Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus spoke this parable to his disciples. The kingdom of heaven is like a man on his way abroad, who summoned his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, each in measure to his ability. And then he set out. The man who had received the 5 talents promptly went and traded with them and made 5 more. The man who had received 2 made 2 more in the same way. But the man who had received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Now a long time after, the master of those servants came back and went through his accounts with them. And the man who had received the 5 talents came forward bringing 5 more. Sir, he said, you entrusted to me 5 talents. Here are 5 more that I have made. And his master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have shown you can be faithful in a small thing. I will trust you with greater. Come and join in your master's happiness. Next, the man with the 2 talents came forward. Sir, he said, you trusted me with 2 talents, and here are 2 more. Well done, said the master. You have shown you can be faithful in small things. I will trust you with greater things. Come and join in your master's happiness. Last came forward the man who had 1 talent. Sir, he said, I had heard you were a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you have not scattered. And so I was afraid, and I went off and hid your talent in the ground. Here it is, yours, have it back. But his master answered him, you lazy servant, so you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered? Well then, you should have deposited my money with bankers, and on my return I would have received some interest on the money. So now, take the talent from him and give it to the man who has 5 more. For to everyone who has will be given more, and he will have more than enough. But from the man who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. The parable of the talents, the story of the talents. Today in our world, like a talent is something you're good at. Like you might have a talent for football or a talent for drawing, a very talented drawer, a very talented runner. But in the ancient world, where the disciples and Jesus were living and where this story comes from, a talent was like a weight of money, And often rulers and kings, when they went away, they would leave their talents, weights of money, the things they had, they would leave their servants in charge of it. And when they came back, they expected to know what their servants had done with those talents, with that money. And often those kings and rulers were pretty bad people. And in the story Jesus tells in the parable of the talents, he's telling the story of a very bad king called Archelaus. And Archelaus, about the time when Jesus was born, he went away on a trip to Rome, and he left his talents with his servants. And when he came back, the ones who'd done lots of work for him and were loyal for him, he rewarded, and those who had done no work for him and were disloyal, he punished. He was horrible. So everyone would know what Jesus' story was referring to there, what it was about. But in the story, Jesus is not saying he is like that bad king. He's not saying that God is like that bad king. He's not. But here's the thing. God gives each one of us talents. God gives each one of us talents. Not like talents as in money, but he gives us gifts. Each one of us. And like when we're little, maybe, the gift we have is smaller because we're only little, and perhaps as we grow, it's more. But at each stage of life, God's given you this talent, this gift, this wealth. And he wants to know what we're going to do with it. What has God given to you? What is the gift you have? That could be many things. Perhaps just first of all, think, what are the gifts that I have? Now, don't say you don't have any gifts. I hear some people say, I'm rubbish at everything. I'm no good at anything. That's not true. That's not true, because God made you. So what are the gifts and the good things I have and the strengths I have? And what are the good things that God has given us? And the next question is, what am I going to do with them? Now, often in life, people think the good things they have, they're just for them, just for me, and they just hoard it all to themselves. But the gifts that God gives, all the gifts in his world, they're for one thing, sharing. They're for one thing, sharing. And so what God will want to know is, how have you shared the gifts I've given you? What have you done with them? Did you just keep them all to yourself? Or did you make them a blessing for those around you? And here's the thing, if you don't share, you lose even what you have. If you don't share, you lose even what you have. There's a song we used to sing to our children when they were little. It's a song we sang in Sunday school years ago. It's called The Magic Penny. And I think it is a good way of understanding the story of Jesus. Now, the magic penny, it goes like this. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Love is something if you give it away. Your kindness is something if you give it away. The blessing and strength and peace that God gives you is something that if you share it away, give it away. The good things we have, if you give them away, we end up having more. What did you do? What did you do with the good things I gave you? Did you use them to help the poor? Did you use them to help mend and repair things that are broken in my world, says God? Oh, well then if you've done that, you've become so rich.